Earnest money.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Carl Mingers. This is Aaron Burns.
Let's make sure.
We are WRME Live as she talks to her computer this morning. We are episode 210. What the heck is today anyway?
The 3rd.
The what?
The 3rd.
The 3rd. December 3rd, 2021. I mean, time just gets away. It's crazy.
Time has flown by this year.
I mean, who would have known that Bammo, this the year's gone. Of course, don't help when you sleep through half of it. All right. Hoping everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know everybody is so busy during the holiday season. Looking forward to having a good Christmas season this year. I tell you, we've been so busy, been rocking along. Buying 3 houses this month, myself, that keeps me pretty darn busy. We're going to step back on these videos to the first Friday of every month. We're starting right now, and we'll see how that goes. And we're just so dadgum busy. It's hard to take time out, hard to come up with content. And
it's hard to count when we're so busy. It's hard to stop and think about some of this stuff.
Absolutely. It seems like every day somebody asks me, "How's our market?" Have you not been paying attention to anything? iBuyers out. Which has never been big in our market.
It wasn't.
Which we're lucky. There's places like Florida and Arizona that Zillow's iBuyer, their business model sucked for one thing, but they would go in and buy houses at more than what they were worth and then jack them up, trying to raise the market, and
doesn't work that way.
They lost their shirt basically. So iBuyer is out. So all those people that looked on Zillow and says, "Yeah, this make me an offer thing," it's gone. Okay.
Well, and if you get the phone calls from those people, most of the information they ask you, they can find in the county assessor's office. So be careful what you do tell them. Because I had one calling and asking me some information. I'm like, you don't need to know that. So be careful. Some might not be legit.
That's right.
There's scammers on everything. But the other thing is find out. Let them tell you what they think. Call a local agent and get a comp from them.
Yep.
Because they're going to offer you low so they can flip it and make money. If they offered you what the market value was, they wouldn't make any money.
Oh, you're talking about the 1-800?
1-800, any of those.
Two Still Homes and all that?
Yeah, I've had a bunch of random calls from different people, all different companies.
And if you've got equity in your home, if you've got, say, 40 or 50% equity in your home, people are going to call you all the time or send you postcards to try to buy your house, at 20, 30, 40% off of what the real value is.
The one I got that finally gave me a number was about 30,000, give or take, under what.
Well, you're doing pretty good. That's not bad.
No, it's not horrible, but it's still, not great.
That's why I really love to go out when people are even considering stuff, like go out, sit down at the table, run the numbers on stuff, get realistic numbers. Sometimes it's better off for them to, if they don't want to do any repairs,
right?
A traditional buyer has to have a house that'll pass FHA inspection,
VA
or VA inspection,
USDA,
right.
Depending on where
and you're going to have to repair things. That's just the way it is.
Right.
But if you don't have the cash, sometimes you're better off.
Sometimes that is a good option.
What?
Sometimes it is a good option
right, yeah,
to sell it to an investor.
There's no reason to give your house away. Okay.
Exactly.
What we'll do is we'll sit down and figure out exactly what's going to get you the most money. And sometimes if people are behind on their house, they're better off to move it quickly and be able to get into a rental before their credit goes totally to crap. Okay? Because once your credit's shot, it's tough to get a rental, or you end up getting a dive because that's all you can get,
Right.
and that's frustrating. It's kind of almost a hidden tax on people that are down on their luck. I hate to see it happen to people.
Right.
And I love when we can go in, buy a house, either at wholesale or as a partner with the owner, and turn it on a regular market and get them cash, get them out of their situation,
Right.
get them on to life.
Hopefully without destroying their credit and everything they worked for.
Don't let it go to the point that it destroys your credit and everything else. I am not a big believer in the credit system, but we have it and we have to deal with it. I mean, the price of your insurance for your house based on your credit, insurance on your car based on your credit. It's not necessarily a fair system.
No, and I'll tell you from experience, sometimes getting bad credit isn't your choice. You're going through a divorce, things don't get, whatever, you lost a job, you lost your house, that's things you couldn't avoid.
Life happens.
But it hurts you in the long run, which
It
sucks.
does. And the quicker you can get back on your feet or the situation under control, the better off you are. Life is just way too short. Like this year, boom, it's gone.
Yeah.
I hit the big 6-0. That'll really make you think about things. I'm lucky to be here to see the 6-0.
Right.
But damn, where did the last 20 years go? It's just crazy. So every day is precious, and it's not worth the time it takes to, sit and worry
Right.
about a situation. I really hate to see people worry about things, because worry does nobody any good. It eats you up from the inside
And
out.
if you sit there and act like it's not going on, it's just going to be worse. We know it's hard to discuss those things. One of the things I tell my client while we're at the closing table and the lender or the closer's talking about stuff and talking about payments and get behind, I'm like, before that happens, give me a call. Let's see what we can do to make sure you don't lose the house.
Let's fix it. Let's
Right.
fix the situation.
Let's fix it before you're in a bad situation.
I have yet to find a situation that we generally. I mean, there's every once in a while, there's one that is so bad
There's just nothing we can do.
that we end up having to do a short sale or something like that. 5-6 years ago or 10 years ago, short sales were it. I mean, that was the big deal, and it's tougher to get a short sale now. But 9 times out of 10, I would say 95 times out of 100, it's nothing near that bad. It's
Right.
something that can be fixed. A lot of times we've got to swallow our pride, maybe drive a little lesser of a car, something that's paid off or something. There's lots of things that we got to do.
Go down to a littler house for a while that's more affordable.
And
I don't
by
wanna
golly,
be
those
that
kids
poor.
can do without cable.
We
If
haven't
it
had
comes
cable
right
in
down to it,
forever.
I've sat down with people that they have like a $300 cable bill because they got all these movie channels, but you can't pay your house payment. That does not make a lick a bit of sense. Let's deal with this, and that's offensive to some people, but you got to use common sense. You can't use our government's approach to everything. Go borrow another $1 trillion.
I had a first-time home buyer, and I sent them an Excel budget sheet I got from a lender that's pretty intense. And I was like, okay, here. And I sent it to him. Next thing I know, he sold the truck, bought a different one because the payment, and he's like, it was an eye-opening because when you got a house payment, now you have house insurance and you have all those utilities, you really start to look at where you spend your money.
Yeah, you start turning the lights off that you don't need. And, when you watch where every penny goes, it really makes a difference in your life. Dang, those $7 Starbucks coffees,
I know.
they don't taste that much better.
One thing that gets us the most being self-employed and we're always out and going is eating out.
Well, I'll tell you, I looked at our food budget and going out, it just, we're so busy. My wife generally picks up something on the way home. Holy cow, we've spent so much money at Whataburger, McDonald's,
Right.
all these different things.
Well, me and my husband usually
Nuts.
eat out 2 meals a day because we both work. We usually eat something at home. in the evening, but still the lunches, just us both eating lunches out during the week, it
Right.
adds up.
Oh, it does. But you go to the grocery store, and half the shelves are empty right now. That's a whole nother thing.
And you take home 2 bags and it's $100. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah. I was at Lowe's. We were doing a little electrical project on one of our houses, and I just run to Lowe's to get some pipe and fittings and all that stuff. They didn't have any 1-inch PVC pipe in the building. And so we drove, in Mustang they didn't have anything. So I drove to Yukon and I bought the last 3 sticks they had. You're like, oh my gosh, this is stuff that should be piles of them on the shelf all the time. I needed to replace a water line on my Bobcat. Went to O'Reilly's. Not a hose clamp in the building. They haven't been able to get hose clamps for months. I'm like, what? Hose clamps?
Right.
Yeah. So I went to the Lowe's plumbing department and bought stainless steel, and got the last ones they had. I didn't need stainless steel, but
gotta do what you gotta do.
they were there. Yeah. But I paid $3 a piece for these little bitty.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, I used to buy 10 for $3.
You're like, dig it.
Times are changing, folks. But I refuse to accept this is the new normal.
No.
I mean, you hear that on every news station. No, thank you.
Nope. I want to get back to normal.
All right, you wanted to chat about some value stuff today, right? What?
Right. So I had a client call me. Wouldn't know what they could get for their property, their house.
Why in the world would you call the lender? But that's just me.
The lender had sent them. They get a thing every month or whatever, and it gives them their estimated value of their house. About $20K over what we figured. So I had him call the lender, local lender, so we actually could get some insight. They have this whole system. They compared it to Zestimates. So, in all honesty, they gave him the very high. When all reality, we were going to be here. And their median was close to our median,
And
where
then
we
because
were.
there's no comps for that property,
Right. So the
you're
thing
going to have a hard time getting it appraised.
So we had him ask if they'd land on the max value, which is what they said their property was worth. And they said, oh, we'd have to appraise it. So just like anywhere else you get these values for your home online or wherever, call someone local.
Call
and
an
have
agent.
them run numbers.
I don't care what company they're with.
No.
If they're worth their weight in oatmeal, they will be able to run you good comps. And you'll know whether an agent is decent or not by just sitting down and talking to them. Ask them some questions, see how they handle things, where are they getting their data. We got a great MLS here in Oklahoma City.
But I was luckily I educated them when we bought the house, so they understood. So as soon as the lender compared it to Zestimates and whatever, he's like, "Oh, okay."
Zestimates.
So he knew because I explained how the online stuff works. It's better to get an opinion, a local opinion.
Absolutely.
Because hopefully we're closer to what that appraiser's going to say than the hunt. Every once in a while we do come across an online one that's actually pretty close to right on. But it's few and far between. So when they're right on, we're like, oh, that's awesome.
I actually pull up, after I do all my paperwork, all my shuffling, all my comparables,
Right.
I pull up Zillow to see how it compares because I know my client out there is going to look at Zillow.
I do the same thing.
And that's part of our communication. Communication is huge in this business. And that's part of our communication. Okay, dude, you're going to look on Zillow, and here's what they're going to say.
Right.
Here's the real world. Okay.
And we can sit down and show you. We compared it to these houses. This is how we came up with that, and why these are comparable to it versus what they used if they actually show what they used. Because most of the time they don't show where they got that number from.
Sometimes I actually use Zillow to help me sell a house because, say it's Zillow says it's worth $150, but it's really only worth $135 or $140. Okay. Once you list that, and you show all the comps, and your seller is good with these numbers, because all the buyers out there are going to go look it up on Zillow. Okay.
I think they're getting a heck of a deal.
And in our housing market, things are moving fast, so Zillow doesn't have time to chase that number through their algorithms and all that stuff. Now, if it's been on the market for a month, Zillow's going to pretty much match whatever the
Right.
MLS says. But as it is right now, it takes a little bit of time. So, buyers are going, oh, this is really worth $150. Nah, well, if they had a decent agent, they would know that it's not. So
Exactly.
that's where your agent comes in.
So
Good ones.
I just want to say, get with someone local.
Yep.
Like Carl said, whether it's us or whoever you trust,
Yeah.
get with someone local. Get some real numbers.
Well, we only have like 9,000 agents in Oklahoma City.
Right, you can find one.
Can't swing a dead cat without hitting a realtor. It's just the way it is. All right, we probably ought to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Everybody go out, enjoy Christmas this year, have a safe New Year, and we will see you the first Friday in January.
Bye.